Well, there has been another mass murder, as you know, at a school in Texas where the uniquely American phenomenon of mass murder at schools, complete with television coverage, like the television coverage you're seeing tonight, began. All of that began in Texas in 1966, when Charles Whitman, a name that became one of the most famous names of the 1960s, went to the top of the Texas Tower, the University of Texas in Austin. Before going to the tower, like many of the mass murderers who followed in his footsteps, Charles Whitman shot and killed his wife, shot and killed his mother.
It's always so hard to find out the motive here, Mr.
By one count, the U.S. has topped 300 school shootings since 2009. 57 times as many as all of the other major industrialized nations combined.
In 2020, the most recent CDC data shows that there were more than 19,000 gun-related homicides. Do the math, that's an average of 53 a day. There have been 213 mass shootings so far this year alone. It's only May.
So doing the math on that, there's a mass shooting in this country about 1.5 a day.
When are we going to do something?
Golden State Warriors coach Steve Kerr last night channeling the outrage of a nation.
I'm tired. I'm so tired of getting up here and offering condolences to the devastated families that are out there.
You know, I think back to Columbine. I was just a teenager then, but it all felt so unbelievable. How tragic is it that this now feels so common?
At some point, a fight even broke out between some people at the scene and police had to step in. Then there's the window at the McDonald's where the shooting happened. Again, as I mentioned, it is shattered. Just a really busy and active scene. According to Chicago police, this shooting happened just after 10:40 last night. Again, 10 people were shot.
Online, there are lots of opinions from both sides of the gun control debate about money, politics, and freedom. But journalist Philip DeFranco also wrapped up one of the other common themes, helplessness. He tweeted, "The uniquely American feeling, seeing news about a mass shooting of kids and knowing literally nothing is going to change to stop it from happening again, is the one I hate the most."
You really believe like he was sitting there reading a law book beforehand? And I know what you're going to say. Well, maybe we should make it more difficult to do that. But the problem with that is it's a simple-minded solution because you also make it more difficult for the tens and thousands and hundreds of thousands of others of 18-year-olds out there who've done absolutely nothing wrong and would like to buy a rifle to go hunting.
So what? So what? So what?
We live in a free country.
So what? You're 18 years old. Can you buy a beer? Answer no. Why can't you buy a beer? Because society in its infinite wisdom has determined that
you're not answering my point.
At 18-year-old to buy a beer.
Question remains.
How can you be too young to buy a beer?
Why do you believe people that have no conscience, no heart, and no soul, parents, lost their kids today? Why do you believe the people? Hang on. Why do you believe in any way that those people that are capable of that evil are going to obey your laws? Because I think you're living in a fantasy world.
Maybe I am. But the NRA convention is in Houston on Friday. You have President Trump, you have Governor Abbott, you have Senator Cruz all scheduled to speak. Don't you think that they should try to suggest some remedy, be proactive? But what are they going to do? What are they going to say other than Second Amendment, Second Amendment, Second Amendment? Second Amendment, the way the Second Amendment is construed now makes me sick. How did muskets become AKs? How'd that happen?
You know,
let me go back to Dan.
Wait, hold on. All right, Geraldo, you've dominated this whole conversation. Not let anyone else talk here, Geraldo. You know, for the last 30 years of your life, you've been a very wealthy, successful guy. Nobody disputes that. You could go out tomorrow and buy security if you wanted to. The Second Amendment makes you sick. Why? So the criminals don't care about your gun laws. They love them because it keeps law-abiding people unarmed while they don't give a damn about your laws. I did this for a living. They laugh at gun laws, and they love people like you advocating for gun laws because you can buy armed protection, and they can go in high-crime communities and prey on innocent people who can never get a hold of a gun. Because they actually obey the law.
Greg Schaefer, FBI veteran of 20 years, an expert on active shooter situations. Thanks for joining us. absolutely horrific scenes this morning. How has this happened again?
If I had the answer to that, I'd solve a lot of the world's problems. We have to get better at a couple things. First of all, and foremost, we need to put armed police officers in every school in America. No questions asked. Every school in America needs to have an armed response, an armed police officer.
If I were the devil, if I were the devil, if I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions, just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door.
News recently with what appears to be the discovery of a NASA project called the Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna made news recently with what appears to be the discovery of a parallel universe above Antarctica, a universe where time is running backwards. There have also been stories of mysterious structures being found deep beneath the ice in the continent. So just what is going on in Antarctica? Antarctica is the world's southernmost continent. It is also the world's highest, driest, windiest, coldest, and iciest continent. Antarctica is about 5.5 million square miles in size, and thick ice covers about 98% of the land. The continent is divided into East Antarctica, which is mainly a high ice-covered plateau, and West Antarctica, largely composed of an ice sheet covering an archipelago of mountainous islands. Knowledge about Antarctica has increased greatly in recent decades, with geologists, geophysicists, glaciologists, biologists, and other scientists having mapped and visited all of the continent's mountain regions. But there are still great mysteries to be discovered there. In May 2020, Antarctica hit the news in a sensational new way, when an article appeared claiming NASA had uncovered evidence for a parallel universe there. This data came from the Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna, ANITA, a NASA-funded experiment that has floated around the South Pole 4 times since 2006. It mainly looks for evidence of elusive particles called neutrinos crashing into the ice below and triggering a spray of particles that emits telltale radio waves. ANITA has not yet traced any such signals. However, the instrument has found radio signals produced by other types of particles from space, known as cosmic rays, as they crash into Earth. According to the report, low-energy subatomic neutrinos with a mass close to 0 can pass completely through the Earth, but higher-energy objects are stopped by the solid matter of our planet. That means that the high-energy particles can only be detected coming down from space. But the team's ANITA detected heavier particles, so-called tower neutrinos, which come up from the Earth. This bizarre finding would suggest that these particles are actually traveling backwards in time, suggesting evidence of a parallel universe. Explaining this signal requires the existence of an upside-down universe created in the same Big Bang as our own and existing in parallel with it. In this mirror world, positive is negative, left is right, and time runs backwards. According to the Daily Star, there is a parallel universe right next to ours where all the rules of physics seem to be operating in reverse. Can this be real? Do we have evidence for a parallel universe existing in Antarctica? Unfortunately, it looks like some news agencies may have misinterpreted the evidence somewhat. The numerous parallel universe articles now online seem to originate to a story published by the New Scientist with the alarming headline, "We may have spotted a parallel universe going backwards in time." The article contains a discussion of the puzzling results from the ANITA experiment. Essentially, it was misinterpreted by a few publications that, it seems, just read the headline. The real story is about neutrinos. Particle physicist Peter Gorham, who is the principal investigator of ANITA, told Science Alert, "We have encountered a small number of anomalies in our data, and once we have exhausted all of the possible explanations within the standard model of physics, only then is it time to consider other ideas that push these boundaries. We are really not done here yet, certainly not at the point where parallel universes are necessary." Leading member of the ANITA experiment team, Ibrahim Safa, said, "We looked at these ANITA events and they can't be standard neutrinos. They were probably a result of our imperfect understanding of the Antarctic ice, but there's a chance some new physics phenomenon is responsible." In December 2017, it was reported that researchers had found a previously unknown huge canyon deep beneath the ice-covered continent. Using radar technology, scientists were able to look 5 kilometers beneath the snow and ice to discover this deep canyon. The feature, which was found near the Denman Glacier on the west of Antarctica, extends for more than 3,500 meters below sea level, almost as deep as the average depth of the ocean. This is also 8 times deeper than the shores of the Dead Sea, which is the lowest exposed landmass on Earth. Previous attempts to map the structure of the Denman Glacier have been unsuccessful, as the deep ice flow beneath the surface skewed results, representing it as much shallower than scientists now know it is. But the latest effort to create the map, known as the BED machine, combined ice flow information with seismic activity to create the detailed map. Matthew Morlingham, who studies ice sheet modeling at the University of California, told the BBC News, "There have been many attempts to sound the bed of Denman, but every time they flew over the canyon, they couldn't see it in the radar data. The trough is so entrenched that you get side echoes from the walls of the valley, and they make it impossible to detect the reflection from the actual bed of the glacier. Ultimately, Bed Machine Antarctica presents a mixed picture. Ice streams in some areas are relatively well protected by their underlying ground features, while others on retrograde beds are shown to be more at risk from potential marine ice sheet instability." In January 2020, Antarctica again hit the news when an image taken from Google Earth was published online. This sensational image seemed to suggest that there might actually be a huge, tall building standing on the ice in Antarctica. A video was uploaded to a YouTube channel, Mr. MBB33, and the paranormal researchers who own the channel suggest that the structure is as much as 2,000 feet in height and the width spans 6 football fields. The video on YouTube has received over 80,000 views so far, and viewers are clearly fascinated by what they think they can see in the image. Strange that all countries want to take over land, but no country claims Antarctica. I think there is some.
Introducing the patented PhysioStep LXT Recumbent Linear Total Body Cross Trainer by HCI Fitness. The PhysioStep LXT's natural one-to-one linear step motion provides a smooth and effective low-impact total body workout in a comfortable seated position that is ideal for rehabilitation and active aging. Features include a 3-way adjustable 20-inch wide swivel seat, 360-degree ergonomic hand grips, and orthopedic heel cup pedals that provide a natural and stable position during your workout. The LXT can easily adjust to fit you. It accommodates a wide range of users from 4'6" to 6'4", with a 400-pound weight capacity. Simply move the seat backwards, adjust the seat recline angle and the length of the handles to change your range of motion. The PhysioStep LXT features a 9-inch LCD display with large, easy-to-read, color-coded buttons. There are 18 workout programs and 16 levels of electromagnetic resistance, making the LXT perfect for functional training. Whether you're looking to purchase the LXT for your fitness center, hospital, physical therapy office, or
something that they know that we don't, one commenter said. Another user suggested that something along the lines of the Project Iceworm was active in Antarctica. Project Iceworm was a top-secret United States Army program of the Cold War, which aimed to build a network of mobile nuclear missile launch sites under the Greenland ice sheet. Many people, however, believe this controversial image shows nothing more than a huge, oddly shaped block of ice. One ongoing mystery of Antarctica is the vast hole in the continent, which first appeared in the 1970s. Many paranormal researchers believe that this hole leads to a lost world beneath Antarctica, perhaps populated by strange creatures, or even that the hole leads to an underground alien base. In the early 1970s, when satellites first began taking photos of Earth, scientists noticed a mysterious hole in one of Antarctica's seasonal ice packs floating on the Lazarus Sea. But strangely, when the summer arrived, the gap disappeared. Was someone or something able to somehow close this massive hole? Was some unheard of extraterrestrial technology involved? For decades, this strange event went unexplained. But in 2017, during the continent's coldest winter months, when ice should have been at its thickest, a giant 9,500 square kilometer hole suddenly appeared in the same ice pack. 2 months later, it had grown a stunning 740% larger, before once again retreating with the summer ice. It's taken a long time, but scientists now think they finally understand why this keeps happening. Using satellite observations and reanalysis data, researchers from New York University, Abu Dhabi, have found that these transient holes, known as polyonas, seem to be scars from cyclonic storms. In September of 2017, as warm air and cold air collided at the South Pole, the swirling inward winds of a cyclone, reaching 117 kilometers an hour and whipping up waves 16 meters high, pushed the Antarctic ice back in all directions and away from the eye of the storm, like a drill into the water. These gaps are powerful influences of the atmosphere and a potential indicator of climate change. Atmospheric scientist Diana Francis stated, "Once opened, it works like a window through the sea ice, transferring huge amounts of energy during winter between the ocean and the atmosphere. Because of their large size, mid-sea polyonas are capable of impacting the climate regionally and globally as they modify the oceanic circulation."
What if you could get 196 servings of delicious?
In 2017, an image of part of Antarctica directly south of Australia appeared online. This showed what some paranormal researchers believe to be a Motte and Bailey castle, a design of castle peculiar to the 10th, 13th century Europe. The motte is a type of artificial mound topped with a wooden or stone structure known as a keep. The Bailey is a fortified enclosure next to the motte. What was a medieval castle doing in Antarctica? Was it part of a parallel dimension? Could it have been transported there by aliens? The Antarctic structure was about 120 meters across, which made it somewhat large for a medieval castle, but anyway, it did possess 2 circles, the Motte and Bailey perhaps. One problem with the castle theory was that the whole structure appeared to be completely flat, without the significant earthworks, which in part define a Mottembele castle. The mounds of such castles are particularly enduring across the centuries, but as researchers looked into the image, they noticed that the dark blue patches inside the rings were water above ice. The structure is most likely a pond or shallow lake that has frozen over during the winter and in spring, when the image was captured, had drained to some extent. This probably followed the melting or washing away of a naturally formed dam or plug. Some patterns and movements of ice and water are commonly seen wherever there is standing water with seasonal freezing. This explanation is a lot more likely than the presence of a 1,000-year-old castle belonging to a far distant culture. Despite the fact that some of Antarctica's secrets have been revealed, there is no doubt that in the future, this enigmatic continent will offer up many more fascinating mysteries to the world.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2. All praises to the Most High. All praise to the Creator. Can I be heard? Can I be heard? If I can be heard, give me a Yahoo up in the chat. Let's work. Let's work. Let's work. Good to see my people in the building. We a little late than usual, but you know how it is. You know, many things, unforeseen circumstances, and you be having to adapt on the fly and get it done. So good to see my people in the building. Bless up. Who I see up in here? Anaya Israel. Shalom. Bless up. Bless up. Imai Robbie Dobson. Charles Israel. Set apart living. Bless up. All praise to the Most High. All praises. Who else we got up in here? Brandon Carter. Keela Olam Kazdo, the house of Troy in the building. Bless up. Keela got a wrench now, y'all. So some of the bros don't show up. They got the wrench. Keela got the wrench now. Y'all know it's going to be a problem in these streets. Hey, tell Troy holler at me if it, you know what I mean. Tell him it's all good. But tell him holler at me if it's a problem. You dig? But Keela got the wrench now, y'all. All right, who else we got up here? Sound the alarm. Bless up. Bless up. Stephanie Randall, my beloved sister, pretty face. Bless up. Who we got? David Brown. Selah Shalom TV, my beloved brother. Hey, man, it was an honor to have you on last night. I believe that, know that. Believe that and know that. Y'all go subscribe to my brother. Our brother, should I say. Selah Shalom TV on YouTube. Subscribe to him. Bro, got a deep catalog. Go to the playlist. You know what I mean? And just, hey, you know what I mean? Hey, check on in. You dig? But it was an honor to have you and our brother YAHKANON YAHWH'S, who was an honor to have you brothers on last night. You understand? I personally believe our people, or people in general, period, need to be having these conversations. Tough convos. Tough ones. The ones that make you like really get back in your studies. You know, like, yeah, I'm back to grind mode now, you dig? So right on for coming on. I believe that, know that. And hey, y'all, we setting up like a interview and / presentation of myself over on his channel too. So check him out. You dig? The brother, I'm putting together the Battle of the Holy Books. This is the first brother that reached out. I'm talking about without hesitation. You dig? So regardless if you agree with the brother or not, to me, that's honorable. Because regardless of it, look, he ought to be sincere, because when I put the challenge out, he the first one to respond. I'm talking about breakneck speed. I said, all right, that what's up. And so far, thus far, what we have to gauge that is what happened yesterday. The brother showed up yesterday. Our other brother showed up too. You understand? But remember this, is always gauged off the ability to go into the text and demonstrate and give the answer. So based off that principle, when it comes down to judging who won or not, you only can judge based off who had the ability to go into the text and answer, and then explain further if they got to. You understand? So salute to the Ak, one love, all praise to the Most High. Let's get it. Who else we got up in the chat? Jehu, my beloved brother, bless up. Ak, what's the word? Jehu M, my beloved brother, bless up. Jelon in the building. What up, Look, Jelon say it. That was a good dialogue last night. Malaki, all praises. That's what's up. We gotta talk about these things. You know what I mean? To me, that's suspect if you don't want to holler. Why? What you don't want to holler for? Should be able to rap about it. You did? What we believe supposed to be challenged. It ain't gonna do nothing but make us better. Straight up. Bezel the Israelite, my beloved brother from the A. Abundant blessings, my beloved brother. Bless up. Much love, you and your entire family, your mother, all y'all, man. Much love from the STL to ATL. Believe that. All right, who we got? My beloved elder, NehemiYAH Mabarak. Bless up, King. What's going on, elder? Blessings to you. I see you. I see you. Hey, much love. Much love. The elder shouted me out this week on social media. You dig? And that was much love, brother. Because look, true about this. You never know what somebody is going through at what time, and when the spirit of the Most High move on you to lay healing words and inspiring words about a brother's character and testimony. You know what I mean? So, hey, salute, elder. I appreciate that. You never know how perfect your words are, family. You understand? You never know how perfect. When I say perfect, I'm talking about when it comes down to the timing. And if there are words of healing, that's perfect. You know what I mean? Super precision. Bless up. Robbie Dobson in the building. Bless up. Love you. Praise Wallace Rollins, Joseph Evans. I see y'all in the building. Bless up. Praise and glory now to the Most High. All right, so look, let's get it done. Y'all see the title, right? Nazarene edition, part 78. Part 78. All right. And we about to go into the historicity of the Nazarene and Essene literature. You see the book cover of what we're going to be going through on the thumbnail today. I'm going to pull it up on the screen too. Some of the other Nazarene Essene literatures what we've been going over. You know, get that right there. It gives a different perspective on the Messianic movement coming out of first century Palestine. And these are the teachings of Peter, the disciple, as recorded by Clement at the behest of James the Just, the Messiah's biological brother. All right, very, very informative. But today, though, all right, so let's get to it. All right, let me go ahead and share screen. Today, though, this is what we're gonna be going into. Let me show y'all. We're gonna be going into the preface and the introduction and prologue and all those fancy words everybody like to use. We're gonna be going into that, dealing with this text right here. All right. This right here is called the Gospel of the Nazarenes. Nazir Essenes, or Nazarites and Essenes combined. You get Nazarenes. So Nazarites and Essenes. All right. Now, somebody, who wrote the book? Look, these people down here didn't write it. It says edited and restored. Edited and restored with historical documentation by Alan Waters and Rick Van Wy. And why was something that's 2,000 years or purportedly to be 2,000 years old need to be edited? You understand? I mean, when they find certain scrolls and all that, some of it be fragments. Look at the Dead Sea Scrolls. You understand? And on top of that, let's all be real. None of us speak Hebrew, Greek, Aramaic, Coptic. None of us speak any of that. Latin, we don't speak none of that. All right. So anyway, this is what we're going to be going into today. All right. We're going to be going into historical. There's going to be a lot of books being referred to as well. So, I mean, make sure y'all got y'all pens and y'all pads. Take these notes. All right. There's a lot of documentation of this way of life. This way of life, should I say, around circa 2,000 years ago. There are a lot of ancient testimonies from like 1,600 years ago speaking about it. 17, 1800, 1900. You understand? If you just trace the trail on down. So we about to get into it. This is the book we're going into right here today. All right, we're going into the introduction. We're not going to get into the actual text. We're going into the introduction, preface, and prologue, all right, if we got time. So let's get it. Let me drop that on down real quick. All right, let me stop sharing and then double back up. All right, let me hit share, share screen. This should work right here. All right, let me know if y'all can see that. Let me know if y'all can see that. Let me grab this phone real quick. Let's work. Let's work. There's a lot of reading about to get done, all right? But it's all good. It gotta be done. All right, let me make sure we looking good real quick. See how we looking. Y'all forget your brother. We about to rock. We about to really, really dig deep down. I hope y'all got whatever way you take notes, bring it. Bring it. We about to go ahead and go ahead and challenge. All right. Now look, did it pull up? Let me see if it pulled up. Let me know if y'all can see that on the screen. If not, I'm gonna have to share it a different way. Nah, that ain't on there. That ain't on there. Hold on, y'all. That ain't on there. It's got the main page I went to, not the actual download. All right, hold on. Hold on. I got you. We're gonna do it like this. We're gonna do it like this. I got you. There's more than one way to skin a cat. And you stop share, stop screen. All right, I'm gonna go back in. Bang. Share screen. I'm gonna play it that way though. All right, so whatever I got on there gotta pop up. All right, drop that. Jump up to that. Y'all should be able to see that. All right, this is the forward. All right, this is the forward. NehemiYAH in the building. Bless up, my beloved brother. Bless up. You skinning animal, aka cat. Hey man, going off, huh? You know I believe that too. All right. Hey, what you say, Imam? My cover got a bend in it like yours. Yeah. Yeah, you know, we rep that. Yeah. You know, we rep that Nazarene, Essene, all that. We rep that. All right, that's up. All right, we good. All right, so this is the forward. All right. Beginning of the forward. And look, I'm just presenting the information. No need to get, in your feelings, even though I understand why one would be in their feelings, because when you expose something that's near and dear to them as being false, you understand, naturally the spirit they've been in agreement with gotta holler out. Y'all know we say what? Hit dogs holler. Hit dogs holler. So this is the forward. This is the forward right here. It says, without a historically accurate account of the times and teaching of Jesus or Yahshua, one is easily subjugated or subjected to the kind of distorted information propagated at the Council of Nicaea. Let that resonate. Let that resonate. It says, if you without a historically accurate account. You know what we've been doing? We've been confusing literature with history. That don't mean there's not historical things in the literature. You understand? But we have to differentiate the two. The Iliad, Homer, and all that. The Odyssey, that's literature. I mean, there may be some historical things in them, but make no mistake about it. You understand? Literature is literature. All right, so watch this. Without a historically accurate account of the times and teaching of Jesus, one is easily subjected to the kind of distorted information propagated at the Council of Nicaea and later in the 4th century. The Nicene Creed and all its related dogma transmitted through the ages as historical and spiritual truth has been perpetuated ever since. What you have is the Nicene Creed. That's what's going on. And yes, this is in the beginning of, or the forward of, the gospel of the Nazarenes, because 2,000 years ago, everybody didn't agree. Everybody that was an Israelite did not agree on the written Torah that they had at the time. Everybody didn't agree in the way the priesthood was moving. Everybody didn't agree with the Sadducees and the Sadducees and the Pharisees and the scribes. Everybody didn't agree with that. Everybody didn't agree with the feast days being on this date and that time. Like, there were different calendars, there were different doctrines. Everything everybody argue over today. Everything everybody argue over today, y'all, they've been arguing about it. All right. Now watch this. The Nicene Creed and all its related dogma transmitted through the ages as historical and spiritual truth has been perpetuated ever since. A gospel referred to under a number of different titles, the gospel of the Nazarenes being one of them, has also persisted through the centuries. See, now we got a problem, because if this has been around longer, just as long or even longer than the gospels you have in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, y'all, we got a problem. Why is this not in your Bible? Why is this not in the New Testament? Why is this considered a new doctrine today? This is new doctrine. This is what Israel's mad at us for. The honor and humility brothers, because we call it for what it is. We're gonna call the obvious for the obvious. We're gonna call a spade a spade. Right? We came out last year telling everybody, look, there's conflicts, contradictions. It's problematic. You got to really know what you're doing to get the message of the Most High up out of there. You know what I mean? It's problematic, because at any point or at any turn, you can confuse the false gods or deities with the Most High or the Creator. Yeah. Easy. Easy. Y'all seen a little bit of that last night. You feel me? Now watch this. So a gospel referred to under a number of different titles, the gospel of the Nazarenes being one of them, has also persisted through the centuries. This gospel, trip off this gospel was referred to by a number of church father historians. Now look at this. Look at this. And these first two names right here, Papias and HEGESPIAS, go back to the 1st century. Meaning they were born in the 1st century. Meaning if they didn't know Yahshua, they knew his direct disciples. You see that? So you mean to tell me the church historians, many of whom were instrumental in deciding which books would be decided to be called the New Testament, they knew about the gospel of the Nazarenes already, though. They knew about the Nazarene and Essene literature. But guess what? It don't promote the agenda of Rome. It don't promote the bloodthirst of Rome. It don't promote the bloodthirst of the fourth beast. You see that? It don't. Now watch this. This gospel was referred to by a number of church father historians. Papias, write him down. Y'all need to know who these people are, so when they ask you, you have it on the fly. Meaning you done did your due diligence, your research. You ain't just saying I believe just because. You like, no, if a naysayer came and said, have you heard of the church father Epiphanius? Sure have. I got Epiphanius. Or Irenaeus, or Clement, or Origen, or St. Jerome. You ever heard of them? Papias, HEGESPIAS, the Nazarene. HEGESPIAS was called the Nazarene, 1st century. Basil, Eusebius. You should be able to have a dialogue about all that, because that means you did your due diligence. And what I'm going to tell y'all, if once you start digging and do your due diligence, even back to the church historians, who many of them never met the Messiah nor his direct disciples, except for those first two. Right? Many of them knew exactly what the mission was, knew exactly what the movement was about. You understand? Sure about this. Some of them was even plant-based. But when it came down to deciding what is allowed into what's agreed upon to be the New Testament and what's not, it did. If it wasn't promoting the agenda of Rome, So when they come together and they agree upon it, then by force, Whoever is caught teaching opposite of this Nicene Creed, hey, it's a problem. And this is how the Nazarene way slowly start fading out. Rome and her agents. Now look at this. The way of Yahshua, the Nazarene, as taught in this gospel, is the ancient way of life taught since the time of Enoch, Hanuk, and Noah. So meaning it's the way, it's the ways of the Creator, it's the ways of the Most High. It's not promoting the ways of Rome, right? It's historical authenticity. Trip off this. Its historical authenticity is validated by its total alignment with ancient teachings found in the Torah and the Talmud. Although it may appear shocking to those brought up on the King James, there is strong historical evidence that these teachings are essentially the same as the Bet Hillel school of Pharisees and the Essenes of that time and the Essenes of that time. Look at that. Right there. There is also some historical evidence that Yahshua studied with Hillel the elder, who founded the Bet Hillel branch of Pharisees. Yahshua and the members of the Bet Hillel school, which was a slight minority to the Bet Shammai school, were persecuted. So the school that Yahshua was a part of was persecuted. Look at this. By the Bet Shammai Pharisees, who were in control at that time. Yes, Yahshua was brought up not only as a Yahudi or a Jew, but in the Nazarite, Essene, or Nazarene sect of the Essene branch of Judaism. Look at that. Look at that. Differentiating what he was on versus what the mainstream beliefs was of his day. Y'all see that? Yes, Yahshua was brought up not only as a Yahudi or a Jew, Yahudim, but in the Nazarite Essene or Nazarene sect of the Essene branch of Judaism. Many of the Essenes at that time were previously Hillel Pharisees who were forced to leave the sect because of the bitterness of the attacks by the Shammai Pharisees. Look at that. So now we're going to examine the flip side of the coin today. Y'all see that? And that's just the first page of the forward. That's just the first page. All right, let's get back to it. I got y'all. Rock with me. I got you. All right. Let's get this one right here. Wow. See, this is what Israel is afraid of. When we come out and tell you 40 years you wandered in the wilderness and error and you never knew the Creator. You ready to hang me from the gateway arch, but then when I go pull it out of Psalm, the 95th chapter, verse 8 on down, now there's a problem. It says you never had the knowledge of the Most High in the wilderness. You carried the tabernacle of Molech and Shion. Your gods you made unto yourselves. Therefore, captivity cometh because you serve and deal with the false deities, the false gods. See, that's right in the Bible. See, so we deal with you wherever you at. You in the Bible, let's deal with the Bible. And let's address the scriptures in the Bible, in Amos and Hosea and Jeremiah and Isaiah, in the Gospels. Let's get into it. Let's address certain aspects of the Torah and all that. Let's get into it. Now look at this. The teachings of these things. The teachings of these things included vegetarianism. So they was plant-based. I mean the Messiah. So this evidence points toward the Messiah being plant-based, not chewing on animals at the feasts. You won't find that in this gospel. The Messiah nor any of his students or disciples, none of them chewed on animals. They weren't chewing on the dead flesh of animals. None of them. Not in this gospel. All right. And I'm going to show as we keep reading why this gospel has the historical authenticity. You understand? If you don't want to believe it, to at least be considered. If you run in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John and don't even know if Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John wrote those gospels, then at least hear the historical authenticity, the historical research that's being brought out about what we're bringing out. I'm not just telling you read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And when you come asking for some historical data, I can't provide you none. Like we go into the Gospel of the Nazarenes and give you the historical background on it. Now watch this. The teachings of the Essenes included vegetarianism, negation of sacrifice / cruelty to animals. You see that? They weren't just plant-based, you know what I mean? They was like, nah, we against the sacrifices that's going on in the temples and the tabernacles. We against the animal sacrifices / cruelty to animals. Also, karma / reincarnation. However you look at that, me myself, I don't believe in reincarnation. It's just, you know, I just don't. You know what I mean? But you know, karma, as if you're looking at karma as what you put out, you receive back, then I can rock with that. Absolutely. Immortality of the soul, love of neighbor as self. So the Essenes also taught the immortality of your soul and to love your neighbor as yourself. Sound familiar, don't it? And the mission to share the one creator. It do say Lord right there, but they were dealing with the creator. I've showed in other past lessons that the Essenes in that cycle, they were the ones that had the light of the creator. The Essenes, Nazarenes. All right. So it says, and the mission to share the creator, a common term used for deity in this time period, whatever, with all nations. All right. So, and the mission to share the creator with all nations. See, that's problematic for majority. I ain't gonna say all Israelites, but majority of mainstream Israel or Hebrew Israelism or Israelisms, Israelitisms. You know what I mean? The mainstream of that ain't with sharing nothing with no nations. You see that? The doctrine of the Essenes or the Nazarenes, you understand, is because you got to spread the one light of the creator or share that with all who are willing to hear it. Period, point blank in the story. You understand? And trip off this, y'all. No matter when, that's that frankincense for y'all don't know. Being that's that marvelous Mac. That's pure frankincense body oil. But anyway, the mission is to serve or to share the one Lord creator or the one creator with all nations. For example, there's an account of Menahem the Essene, who in 20 BCE, before the Common Era, led 160 Essenes in teaching the one creator to the nations. Look at him. Now look him up. Look up Menahem the Essene. Menahem the Essene. And look at when he was on his mission before the Common Era. 20 years before the Common Era, he led 160 Essenes in teaching about the creator to the nations. This they did not as conquerors. They didn't come in, you know, with the missionaries and then with their, you know what I mean, with their Knights Templars. That ain't how they got down. This they did not as conquerors, forcing a particular religion on the population, but rather as teachers respecting the right of each nation and individual to develop their own personal way to come to know the one or the creator without beginning or end. See, so they came demonstrating the light of the creator. And it wasn't with the sword. It wasn't with the sword. You see that? And in that, see, you thinking we all got to agree on every point and exact directly. No, that ain't necessarily the case. But see, when you're dealing with the Most High or you're dealing with the one creator, as the text is saying, there are common core beliefs and principles that we all agree on. Who knew about Menahem the Essene, who was doing the work of the creator 20 years before the Common Era? And his missionary work included sharing the creator or the Most High with all the nations. You see that? And it wasn't by the sword, but rather as teachers respecting the right of each nation and individual. About this, each nation and individual to develop their own personal way to come to know the one without beginning or end. It is not surprising in this historical context, and it's actually validated in the Gospel of the Nazarenes, that Yeshua also taught the importance of vegetarianism. Absolutely. 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 They don't want to hear that. All right. They don't want to hear that one right there. The Messiah, are you teaching another Jesus? Nah, you ain't realizing like the Messiah whom you got handed was the other Jesus that was prophesied to come, that would not be the one but the anti. That's what's going on. That the Messiah also taught the importance of vegetarianism, non-cruelty to animals, love of neighbor as self, reincarnation, all right, and the mission to share these teachings with all the nations. Although the Essenes went the furthest of any Hebrew sect concerning the equality of men and women, the teaching of Yahshua is significantly clearer and stronger. Look at this. Now, this is in the Gospel of the Nazarene, chapter 64, verse 3 through 6. All right. As in the man, the father is manifest and the mother hidden, so in the woman, the mother is manifest and the father hidden. One thing that the ancient Nazarene Essene teaches balance between, you understand, the male and female, the man and the woman. Balance. And that's why you see in the modern Israelite movement is, you understand? I mean, you already feel that's played out when it comes down to even the whole paradigm and understanding of how the man and woman are perceived. You understand? Like I personally believe we passed the point of no return. The brothers that look at women as if they lower than snail nuts gonna keep looking at the women like that. The women that look at brothers as if they ain't worthy to even be mentioned, they gonna keep looking at brothers like that. You understand? But for those that can hear and understand, the ancient way is balance. Balance. There's an agenda in silencing either party. You silencing a woman for? We need to hear something. And do I believe in the structure and order? Absolutely. But watch this. As in the man, the father is manifest and the mother hidden, so in the woman, the mother is manifest and the father hidden. Therefore shall the name of the father and the mother be equally hallowed, for they are the great powers of the Almighty. And the one is not without the other in the one creator. Verily, the Elohim created man in the divine image, male and female. Therefore is the Lord both male and female, not divided by the two in one, undivided and eternal, by whom and in whom are all things visible and invisible. This is a teaching of Messiah himself. And that's Gospel of the Nazarene, chapter 64, verse 3 through 6. But I'm going to tell y'all something. It's something, it's some type of threat. It's some type of threat that will allow, you know what I mean? Look, it has to be a threat for the woman or the Hebrew woman to even speak up and give her own perspective on what's going on, because certain Negroes lose their cool. They pop a blood vessel. As soon as they hear a woman say something, oh, a woman's supposed to be quiet. Don't say nothing. You see what I'm saying? And that's foolish. Like, you should always be asking the sisters or ask a woman, what you see, because the sisters deal with an aspect that the brothers don't deal with all the time. They're more emotional, meaning they're more sensitive to the spiritual realm. We more logical. We more logical in things, but the sisters are more sensitive to the spirits. You know what I mean? Everybody know I ain't lying because they call it female intuition. That just means they're more sensitive. Them, the emotional component everybody talking about, that's them being more sensitive to the unseen, invisible, you know what I mean, spectrum that's going on. You know what I mean? So the balance is what was taught. And for those that don't like it, even in the Bible, Genesis 1:27, in the image of God made he them, male and female. So how are you going to get mad at the Essenes teaching the balance between the man and the woman when in Genesis, the first chapter, verse 26 and 27, it says that the man and woman was made in the image of God. You know what I mean? So this ain't for no argument. We're just showing different perspectives of the Torah, different perspectives of, you know, how things ought to be seen and viewed and judged. That's it. All right, so let me drop that. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. Let's get it. We working. Working. All right, let's work. NehemiYAH in the building. Bless up. Now, let me get this up. Let me get this up. All right, now watch this. gospel of the Nazarenes forward. Look at this. This is a threat. This is why this literature is a threat to mainstream Hebrew Israelitisms. Very, very controversial, very, very much a threat, though. Because not only, look, even if we didn't have this, we can stay over in the scriptures, stay over in the Bible. We still got questions that can't be answered. You know what I mean? So that in itself proves there was something else going on. All right. In this gospel, there is also an emphasis on the universality of truth. Again, Yahshua taught them, saying, the Lord raises up all witnesses to the truth in every nation and every age, that all might know the will of the eternal and do it. That's gospel of the Nazarene, chapter 66, verse 1. See, so it's destroying the whole paradigm of racism right out the gate. It's just the other nations have to come up under the same discipline of the Nazarenes and Essene. You know what I mean? But the way they were living goes all the way back, as we read earlier, to who? Adam, Enoch. Regardless if you believe them to be men or not, it's saying it's an ancient way of the Most High or the Creator. This is how men are to conduct themselves. All right. The Gospel of the Nazarenes is filled with historical statements of timeless truths that are critically important guides for us to live by in both the present and future age to come. So it says it's full of timeless or filled with timeless truths, historical statements of timeless truths. And we ain't just, winging this and scratching and yawning. We ain't doing that. We about to read it. We about to read the source, and we going to give you the source. Now look at this. One of the most fascinating sections is a new clarification of the ancient commandments, as the Messiah is quoted to say, behold, a new law I give to you. Behold, a new law. That's in the Bible, ain't it? Behold, a new law I give to you, or a new Torah I give to you. Torah simply means instructions, which is not new but old. Hear, Israel, the Creator is one. Many are my seers and my prophets. In me all live and move and have substance. Now watch this. Ye shall worship the one eternal unbegotten Creator, of whom are all things made. This is the Torah that the Messiah taught, right? You should not take away the life of any creature, nor yet torment it. Look at this. You should cherish and protect the weak, the oppressed, and all creatures that suffer wrong. Commandment 4. You shall not eat the flesh, nor drink the blood of any slaughtered creature, nor yet anything which brings disorder to your health or senses. Look at this. Look at this right here. Y'all see this? You shall eat the fruits and herbs of the earth, and working in the law or in the Torah, live long in the land. He's telling you even how to eat. Yahshua taught the higher law. Yahoshua. My brother, YAHWH'S. He taught the higher law. And we dealing with historical and timeless truths here as we keep reading. These things already been documented. That's why I love the precision of the Most High. Love it. Makes all the sense in the world. All right, Lindsay III, my beloved elder brother, bless up. All right, let's go to the next one. So notice what he said. That commandment 4, you shall not eat the flesh nor drink the blood of any slaughtered creature. The high vibrational way of living, y'all, is not the animal diet. You're not to be chewing on animals. Now, that don't mean we feel as we better than anybody. Or I speak for myself. That don't mean I'm better than anybody or nobody. You understand? You dig? But that diet is problematic. Just stopping that alone, that and the dairy alone, you reverse all type of things you had going on with you. But these things were taught 2,000 years ago. All right, showing you that even if it wasn't about the brothers that you don't like just bringing it out, these things are still around, right? Now look at this. You shall eat the fruits and herbs of the earth, and working in the Torah, live long in the land. So that's the dietary Torah or dietary law, is the fruits and the herbs. You know what I mean? And y'all, today, it's so many different recipes. I mean, it really ain't no excuse. It really ain't no excuse for you to be like, oh, no, that's nasty. Nah, player. Dig. There's plenty of chefs out here getting it done. There's plenty of sisters out here and bros know how to get down with on the whole plant base. Fire. All right. You start weaning yourself. All right. Commandment number 6. You should not make impure marriages. Look at this. Look at this. You shall not make impure marriages where love and health are not. So you mean to tell me your covenant, you coming together, you feel me, also has to do with health. Yeah, because your bodies are what? Temples of the Most High, correct? What says you should not make impure marriages where love and health are not. Because the Most High wants to dwell with you and in you. And it's showing you that Messiah came teaching what? Purity. It's the higher law. You know what I mean? As much as possible. And that's good. That's why it's brothers I heard they got the bitter teas and all that. I drink on them every day. Because you never know what kind of, impurities may invade you or whatever, based off where we live or whatever. But purity is supposed to be one of the ways of resurrection. And Messiah taught that. You should not make impure marriages where love and health. So every marriage is supposed to be based off love and health. And those things have to be defined as well. You should not make impure marriages where love and health are not, nor yet corrupt yourselves or any creature. You shall revere your fathers and mothers and all the teachers of righteousness. You should not bear false witness against, nor willfully deceive any, nor yet covet, nor steal their goods. You should purify yourselves daily. There go purity again. And rest the 7th day. You shall not do unto others as you would that others should not do unto you. Makes sense, right? You want to be blessed, bless others. You don't want to be talked about, don't talk about others. You see this? Now look at this. This ancient yet new ways of stating these timeless teachings bring a new understanding to the scriptures on which so many have based their lives. It is significant that these teachings are coming to light now. Yahshua, the Messiah, prophesied in this gospel. I have set you as the light of the world and as a city that cannot be hid. But the time comes when the darkness shall cover the earth and gross darkness the people. And the enemies of truth and righteousness shall rule in my name and set up a kingdom of this world and oppress the peoples and cause the enemy to blaspheme, putting for my doctrines the opinions of a man and of men, and teaching in my name that which I have not taught, and darkening much that I have not taught by their traditions. Meaning there would be things floating around Messiah didn't teach. Yeah. Now, have these teachings invaded what we have and received today and accepted as the Bible? Huh? Have any teachings that the Messiah, even if it's not him speaking, what if it's those that claim they follow him? Did they come teaching something that was contrary to the order? Now look at this. But be of good cheer, for the time will also come when the truth they have hidden shall be manifest, and the light shall shine. And hold on, let's drop that on down. Get off there for a second. Get to the next one. That's work. That's work. This type of information is very much a threat. All right, that's 6. Is that the wrong one? No, we looking for a continuation, player. Let me go to 7. Maybe 7 is that one. Then we come back to 6. Yep, that's it. Okay. All right. And the darkness shall pass away, and the true kingdom shall be established, which shall be in the world, but not of it. That's Gospel of the Nazarene, chapter 95, verse 3 and 4. It is clear from this gospel that Yahshua did not want people to worship him. Uh-oh. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Look at this right here. Look at this right here. It says, it is clear from this gospel that Yahshua did not want people to worship him, but rather to achieve salvation / enlightenment by following after the way. a way of grace, self-responsibility, and natural living under the law. As the Essenes used it, the law means the earthly laws of nature and the spiritual laws of the cosmos. Y'all heard talking about 613 laws and Torah portions. Y'all see what we mean when we say Torah? The Torah or the law means the earthly laws of nature and the spiritual laws of the cosmos. No, we ain't talking the same doctrine, Jack. We not. We not. If it don't line up with creation, and creation is nature and the cosmos. If it don't line up with the heavens and the earth, we got to question that. We got to question that. You know what I mean? We got to question that. I'm going to read that again. It is clear from this gospel that the Messiah, Yahshua, did not want people to worship him, but rather to achieve salvation/enlightenment by following after the way, a way of grace, self-responsibility. Every tub got to sit on its own bottom, Jack. You know that. And natural living under the law, as the Essenes used it. The law means the earthly laws of nature and the spiritual laws of the cosmos. That's hard. That's hard. That's the Torah we talking about. You want to talk about Torah? We talking about the earthly laws of nature and the spiritual laws of the heavens, the cosmos. You ain't talking about that. You still in Kenny. You ain't even in kindergarten. You ain't even in pre-K. The gospel of the Nazarenes connects us to the eternal I am that has existed from the beginning of time. It is a reflection of the prophetic teachings of the elect for thousands of years, reflected and lived by the Essene community at the time of the Dead Sea Scrolls. There you go. You know what I mean? I got the scrolls reintroduced to the world through the enlightened teachings of Yahshua. The gospel of the Nazarenes can be used as an authentic doorway that empowers the reader to live the way of Yahshua the Nazarene. Trip out this, y'all. Gabriel Cousins, MD. This is a doctor. It don't matter. That's a Spanish doctor or a white boy doctor. This man a doctor. He got MD back there. Gabriel Cousins, MD. Essene teacher and author of Conscious Eating, Sevenfold Peace, and Spiritual Nutrition and the Rainbow Diet. That's a book. You see the B next to that? That's a book. Write that down and get that. Or at least put it in your cart on Amazon. Yeah, we're going to slow roll this. We're going to slow roll this. Y'all, these are pages from my book. Like, I wrote that B next to that. You see that? See, now, so we ain't just saying historical authenticity and all that, or historicity. We giving you the sources. Go look at it. First source, y'all, is a doctor, a medical doctor. See that? Wow. Okay. Let's keep going. Which one was that? Let's get on back to the other one. All right. That's work. It's heating up. It's heating up in this deal. If y'all get some understanding, give me a Yahoo up in the chat. Bless up. Bless up. Give me a Yahoo up in the chat if y'all getting some understanding. Bless up. All right. Let's get to the introduction. I got to jump up to 8. That was backwards. All right. Now watch this. Now watch this. Now watch the introduction. The gospel of the Nazarenes. Nazarenes are 2 words. Nazarite and Essenes put together, Nazarenes. All right. Matthew 2:23. The Messiah should be called a Nazarene, right? The Nazarenes follow the Creator, worship the Creator. You understand? No priest, no king, none of that. You know what I mean? Had a code of living, had a code of eating, was in spiritual communion with the unseen forces and all that. You dig? That's how they got down. Right? This information is a threat to mainstream Hebrew Israelitisms. That's why none of them have even stepped up and took the challenge I put out over a year ago. Not even your beloved Pastor Doula. He just tried to run campaign, the smear campaign, You dig? And act like he been trying to reach out to us. And so we had to show the receipts, right? Bro, we've been calling you out for a whole year and tagged you in the post. Your name is highlighted in blue, buddy. Stop it. But he had to do that to show that, you know, try to save face. All right. But everybody got questions that are not being answered. You understand? So let's get into the introduction. The Gospel of the Nazarenes, introduction. No religious tradition has affected the course of world history or contemporary culture and society as that which has become known as Judeo-Christian. I mean, I agree with that hands down. What other religious tradition could you possibly bring that has dominated the world times over? No religious tradition has affected the course of world history or contemporary culture and society as that which has become known as Judeo-Christian. Miracles have been witnessed. Wars have been fought. Continents conquered. Grand musical compositions and dramas rendered. Death and separation perpetuated. All in the name of the traditional concept of the Judeo-Christian God. Yet little historical evidence would surface to trace the source of such pageantry. Yet little historical evidence would surface to trace the source of such pageantry and aggression until the discoveries made in the area of biblical archaeology during the present century. It is important to note that in the last century of archaeological discovery, more has been unearthed in biblical research than in the last 1900 years combined. You see that? That's saying, hey, listen to this. When the Dead Sea Scrolls and all that century right there, the 1900s, the 20th century, that century right there, there was more discovery of biblical research and archaeology than the previous 1900 years combined. Y'all see that? As many manuscripts were uncovered, such as the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Gnostic Gospels, the mysteries of these religious traditions began to unravel themselves. Many fragments. Y'all, there are many things that ain't in the New Testament. Many fragments have indeed verified some of what has been thought to be the truth. Others have provided revelations into the many paradoxes and obvious oversights generated in the attempt to fashion a historical thread to authenticate current tradition. Amongst the most controversial of these that continues to be a catalyst for such revelations, whose parent text is an original Aramaic/Hebrew version of Matthew. It's saying the Gospel of the Nazarenes come from the original Hebrew Matthew. So if anything, you dig, you got to deal with the Hebrew, right? Then brothers be like, the Hebrew. Well, the Gospel of the Nazarenes parent text is the original Hebrew version of Matthew, meaning it was birthed out of that. I'm giving you historicity. I'm giving you things you can look up yourself and start looking. I'm giving you names of historians and church fathers that validate this ancient way of living. That these brothers were in line with the Creator. And even though the church fathers knew them or knew about them and knew of their writings still were not voted to be a part of what's called the New Testament. The New Testament was agreed upon. All right, now watch this. It says, among the most controversial of these that continues to be a catalyst for such revelations is one that has persisted mysteriously throughout the ages. This gospel has been referred to under a number of different titles. Illustrated example, Gospel of the Nazarenes, Gospel of the Hebrews, Gospel of the Ebionites. Write that down. Y'all need to know about the Ebionites. Among others, should prove to be the oldest. It's saying this gospel should prove to be the oldest of all accounts of Yeshua's life. Bag drop. There it is. It's saying that what you got in here is older than Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John that you got in your Bible. Yeah, we about to get into it. That's why them men silent. That's why everybody, look, they may disagree with what I'm saying. You understand? But I called everybody to the flow last year. Nobody showed up to catch the fade because you can't argue with history. And one thing I know my Israelite brothers ain't the majority. I ain't gonna say all. You know what I mean? Because there are, shout out to my brothers, because I know a few brothers that are very, very well researched when it comes to the history. But for the most part, Israel is not studied up when it comes to history. See, you could be studied up on the precepts of the Bible, but if I ask you, what's the history of the compiling of the text? How did the text get compiled? What we call the Tanakh and the New Testament. You dig? That's a whole nother monster right there you got to deal with. See, that's the realm of academia. They deal with that type. We deal with debate the topics. Now that they dealing with, how was the text compiled then? In what year? What sources are you using? That's a whole nother realm right there. All right, now watch this. And so it's saying that the gospel that we reading about today proves to be the oldest of all the accounts of the Messiah's life. Should prove to be the oldest of all the accounts of Yahshua's life. Most recently published, it's saying it was the recent of it was published in London circa 1870. Uh-oh. Not the 1800s. Well, my SHALOM, man, not the 1800s, huh? It says the most recently published in London circa 1870 is the Gospel of the Holy 12, the opening explanatory preface of this derivative states. All right, let me jump up. Jump up. Not the 1800s, huh? All right, this is what it states. Oh, yeah, in the Mabarak. You know, I know no other way but to go all out. Okay, that ain't that one. Hold on. Drop that one. Drop that one. Gotta be this one. Let's work. Let's work, baby. Okay. Now watch this. It said right here. It's the introduction still, right? Now look at this. They act like we ain't did the research. That's what I'm saying. Like I heard all the talk, but I don't hear the talk no more. I don't hear the talk no more. So one brother act like he wanted some. You know what I mean? Look, we poured this so much on him, went so hard at standing on what it is we own. That brother kicked me out his WhatsApp group. Yeah, he kicked me out both his WhatsApp. All right, you understand? That means you ain't got nothing for me. You ain't got nothing for me. All right, now watch this. This gospel is one of the most ancient and complete of early pre-Christian fragments. This is how the gospel of the Nazarenes came into fruition, right? This gospel is one of the most ancient and complete of early pre-Christian fragments. Pre-Christian. Let's go back before you agreed upon New Testament. It's one of the most ancient and complete of early pre-Christian fragments, preserved in one of the monasteries of the Buddhist monks in Tibet. Ooh, wait. Now we ain't dealing with like India and China and all that. Huh? Now, with the gospel of the Nazarenes doing all the way over in Tibet, in the monastery, in a Buddhist monastery. What is the gospel of the Nazarenes? If this is one of the most oldest and ancient records of the Messiah's life, why is it all the way over in Tibet, in a Buddhist monastery? Wow. Where it was hidden by some of the who? Essene community. Yeah. Yeah. Followers of the way. Shout out to the faithists. Shout out to the faithists. Much love, man. You know what I mean? We start the brothers and sisters on this channel started understanding this last year. See that? You mean to tell me the Nazarene or the Essenes had a community in Tibet? Yeah, because we was all over bringing this way, this worship, this knowledge of the one, this light of the true creator, where it was hidden by some of the Essene community for safety from the hands of corruptors. Oh, wait. Preserved in one of the monasteries of the Buddhist monks in Tibet, where it was hidden by some of the Essene community for safety from the hands of corruptors, and now for the first time translated from the Aramaic. Brothers was asking me that. Where is it? Where is it in? It wasn't translated from the Hebrew or the Aramaic. There it is right there. Translated. Look, the names you see on the front of that, they didn't even write it. They ain't even write it. Translated from the Aramaic. The contents clearly show it to be an early Essene Nazarene writing. Talking about this gospel. This ancient community of Hebrew, this Hebrew sect called the Essenes, Nazarites or Nazirs, strongly resembled the Therapists, the Pythagoreans, and the Buddhists. I heard this? This ancient community of the Hebrew sect called the Essenes, Nazarites or Nazirs, strongly resembled the Therapeutae that they was in Egypt, Pythagoreans, Greece, and the Buddhists, India and China, who also practiced. Look at this. Look at what we all had in common. These groups, and I'm not talking about the radical, bloodthirsty section of these groups. I'm talking about the peaceful faction of these groups. You understand? Look at what all we had in common. Who also practiced community of goods, communal living, daily ablutions, daily worship, and renounced flesh eating, strong drink, the sacrifice of animals, and the doctrine of atonement for the sins of some by the vicarious and involuntary suffering of others, as held by the Pharisees and Sadducees and by the heathen before them. Y'all see this? So these colonies of faithists, or these colonies that followed the way, y'all, weren't just around Palestine where we was at. You got the Therapeutae of Egypt. You got the Pythagoreans of Greece. You got the Buddhists of India and China. And the peaceful faction of these groups, like we the peaceful faction of the Hebrews, right? The peaceful faction, and they held the light of the Creator, right? The peaceful faction of these groups that hold the light of the Creator. You understand? Guess what? Move the same way we move. So we ain't talking about idolatry or nothing like that. We ain't with the idolatry because those who follow the Creator ain't with the idolatry, period. But look at what all we have in common. Ain't with the sacrificing of animals. About responsibility. Ain't about saying something else got to die because I keep messing up. No, I got to pay for my own crimes. Huh? Now look at this. The Gospel of the Holy 12 was published in an era when language modeled on the King James Bible prevailed in literature of this nature. Its text had entered our contemporary day untouched and almost forgotten, burdened with syntax that is not easily read or understood because of the numerous historical references confirming its authenticity. Look at this. It says when the Gospel of the Nazarenes was originally published, it says it was burdened with syntax that is not easily read or understood. Because of the numerous historical references confirming its authenticity, the original impetus of this project was to produce a new edition, making this text more understandable by removing most of the archaic language. That's what happened. You see? It's so many historical references about the Gospel of the Nazarenes and the Essene. It's so many historical references of the Nazarene and Essene literature. So many. So many. So what they did when they edited, they just they brought it up to speed to more of a modern thing. That's it. Watch this. While the project was underway, the momentum of the research led in a direction of its own, which has resulted in recovering a greater degree of the original Aramaic source. As is noted in the prologue of this work, this Aramaic original is quoted by respected church historians. Y'all heard this? As noted in the prologue of this work, this Aramaic original, as is noted in the prologue of this work, this Aramaic original was quoted by respected church historians as the most likely source from which all later regional gospels, including, hold on, y'all, my bad, including Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, emerged. It's saying that this gospel really is the source of your Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. It's saying Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John emerged, or the foundation of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John is really the gospel of the Nazarenes. You know what I mean? But what you have in your Bible, your agreed upon New Testament, is a New Testament that was voted upon and agreed upon, and in many areas to push the agenda of Rome. That's why the majority of the New Testament is whose letters? Paul. Paul was a Roman. Well, in citizenship status, that is. But he also claimed to be Herodian too. And all the Herodians had Roman citizenship. But the Herodians were Idumean, Edomites. This right here is saying that the gospel of the Holy 12, aka the gospel of the Nazarenes, is the original gospel. You understand? That's older and predates and has more historical references and authenticity than your Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John agreed upon in the Bible. That's what they're saying. So when we came out last year and said that, everybody acted as if they was about to blow a blood vessel. And I'm like, okay, brothers ready to do some research and swim deep. Brothers ain't want to do it. They didn't want to do it. You want to talk about, you know, the men that may have edited this deal, or the men who may have discovered it. Come on, bro. Stop it. That don't hold no weight, because you know why? You got your church fathers. Your church fathers who lived 1,800 years ago talking about not just the book, but what's in the book. We're going to get to it. All right, if y'all getting some understanding so far, give me a 9 up in the chat. Bless up. The gospel of the Nazarenes is older than your Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John you have in the Bible. Period. And there's more historical references and authenticity to back it. And it's wild how it was kept secluded from, from the councils and all that. It's wild. Even though they knew about that. All right. All right, I see y'all got them 9s out. Okay. Now let's go to the next one. Bless up. Let's get it. You know what I mean? It's starting to heat up in this deal. We just cooking a little taste. That's it. We just cooking a little taste. We ain't talking about nothing. Making no noise, you know. More of the introduction. An interesting point that verifies such a statement is that it is a known fact that anyone in or around Judea during the time of Yahshua who referred to any man as God, i.e. Lord, referring to the one God incarnate, or his only begotten son, will be committing a crime punishable by death. Thus, by the nomenclature used to address or refer to Yahshua, we can see that many later versions of this gospel were either not authored by Hebrew scribes or those of Hebrew descent, or their work was edited. It was during the Nicene era of 325 AD, and later when the bishops who comprised the Nicene or the Council of Nicaea, gathered by the Roman Emperor Constantine, met to unify, and canonized the many diverse religious texts and traditions in existence at that time. Oh, wait. Hold on, let me make sure I'm still live. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Hold on. Hey, y'all, let me know if I can be seen. I don't know my phone jamming up a little taste. Oh, there I go. We good. All right. Let's get back to it. Got you. All right, I'm going to read that again. It was during the Nicene era of 325 AD, and later when the bishops who comprised the Council of Nicaea gathered by the Roman Emperor Constantine, met to unify. Purpose of the council was to meet to unify and canonize the many diverse religious texts. Hold on, y'all. Slow it down. What you mean the many diverse and religious texts? Is this telling you right here that Constantine picked from various religious texts and then unified and united and agreed upon, you know what I mean, what you have today is the New Testament? Is that what that's saying? That said right there, they met to unify and canonize, meaning they're going to stamp this as authority. Anything outside of this is considered heresy. That said right there that the Roman Emperor Constantine met to unify and canonize the many diverse religious texts and traditions in existence at that time. Look at that. Look at that. What you mean the many diverse religious texts? What diverse religious texts? What is going on here? In order to gain favor with Constantine and secure a life of relative opulence, the correctors expanded the life and teachings of the man Yahshua into a concept of external divinity, which can be more easily merged with the religions favored by the Greco-Roman populace. Much of the obvious Hebrew tradition mentioned in historical 1st to 3rd century writings and accounts of the life of Yahshua, which departed from the agenda they wished to propagate, were swept away in the ensuing emotional and intellectual debate. Having restored the historical Hebrew and Aramaic terms and quotes, what emerges from the pages of this illuminating historical text is the unmistakable message of internal union and compassion for life on all levels of manifestation. It is a practical message of the timeless individual and collective empowerment discipline known as the way. The way. Y'all see this? Y'all see this? Dang. Shout out to all the haters, jaw jackers, and naysayers. We love y'all too. Bless up. You know what I mean? It's all love. All right, let's get back to it. All right, let's work. All right. This right here is the explanatory preface or preface. All right, we're going to work. We're going to work. We bring these things out. Even if we got to do them in sections. Bring it out. Do the studies. Look the books up. You know what I mean? That's work. Like, it ain't like we had anything. Everything that we run across, what we do, we share it. We share it. What's the worst that can happen? You find out what you was doing was off and you get better? And one thing we did before we came outside with this, y'all, we did the research. We didn't say, ooh, look what I found. I got to read that first. Meditate on it. And dwell on it. You understand? And be in prayer about things and ask the Most High to reveal things to you. And when it's time to rock, it's time to rock. That's it. All right. The Gospel of the Nazarene's explanatory preface. Various terms, phrases, and concepts used in this text may differ from tradition in their spelling or definition. The most important term, Nazarene, will be explained here in an attempt to familiarize the reader with the only group which clearly defines that party or mystical sect that Yahshua, his brother James, and their cousin John the Baptist belonged to. So the Nazarene is a combination of Nazarite and Essene. And they saying like, look, the family of the Messiah, they was about this work. His brother, him, and not just his one brother. It was several brothers. Matter of fact, it was 7 children. It was what, 5 sons and 2 daughters. And then John was their cousin. You know what I mean? But they all were part of this mystical, this highly spiritual and high vibrational frequency sect, Nazarenes, which is the Nazarites and the Essenes combined. All right. Now look at this. And the Herodians, Rome was against these brothers directly. All right. Now look at this. This particular spelling, which distinguishes these Nazarenes from the rest, is a blending of two words, Nazarite and Essene, or in Hebrew, Nazir Yasin. After Pompey's invasion in 63 BC, the Jerusalem community, as often happens during occupation, began to splinter. Some groups split up into subgroups. Some joined with others of like mind for strength in numbers, and others either went completely underground or disappeared altogether. The Nazarites, like the Essenes, existed in about 4 basic groups or grades in the simplest terms: neophyte, devotee, first level initiates, and adepts or the high priests. The Nazarite adepts and high priests differed from the Essenes in only varying degrees, aside from the fact that they did not live in all male celibate communities like Qumran or the Essenes. The Nazarite or the Nazarene brothers were still family men, because how you gonna keep this going if you don't have children? But the Essenes were more like the Buddhist monks who lived within the monastery, who were celibate. Right? The Nazarites or the Nazarenes were those who believed and rocked the same way, but because they weren't of the highest celibate order, they was a level right up under them. But they had families. You understand? They was outside with it. They weren't celibate. So that's just what it is. But these are the truths and the facts of the matter. All right. It says, by the Dead Sea. Instead, they lived in small family villages. The Nazarenes, as compared to their Essene mentors, will be called householder devotees, as opposed to in-temple initiates or adepts. In Barber Theorings, Jesus and the Riddle of the Dead Sea Scrolls. That's another book. Write that down, family. It's another book. Write that down. See, we ain't had nothing over here. We give you our sources. We give you what it is we looking at. That way we all can, it be multiple eyes on something. And then we all can, let each other know to watch out for this, watch out for that. All right. It says right here, in Barber Theorings, Jesus and the Riddle of the Dead Sea Scrolls, subtitle Unlocking the Secrets of His Life, we find the following. The Essene Nazarite, the Nazarite Essene order, was under the authority of the David Crown Prince, as it was of lower status than the celibate order. Hold on, y'all. Hold on one second. David Crown Prince, huh? All right, wow. Is that the right one? I think so. No, I don't think that's the right one. Hold on. Dang. Second, y'all, I'm gonna go up one. I'm gonna have to just rock with that. I must have got that one out of pocket. But all right, let's rock anyway. It's still the explanatory preface. While the word Lord may or may not apply here, she nevertheless goes on to say, whose members spend most of their time in the monastery and only short periods outside. Exactly. So the Nazarene, the highest household devotee of the Nazarene sect was still lower than the adept or the high priest of the Essene. You understand? Because those brothers lived in the temples, in the monastery. They were celibate. You know what I mean? All right, it says right here. A paragraph later, she elaborates further. Between the village Essenes, Nazarenes, and high monastic Essenes stood the therapeutae, or the therapists of Egypt, and other diaspora Essenes. They were called the Joseph tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh. In many ways, they were like monastics, having similar views on purity. They were not enclosed, however, but very much involved in the world and its politics. As early as 1956, in one of the first great texts about the Dead Sea Scrolls, A. Powell Davies, in the meaning of the Dead Sea Scrolls, writes this concerning the Nazarene connection. Connected at some time with the Nazarites, a sect of ancient origin. It will be remembered that James the Just followed the Nazaritic practices. James the Just, y'all, is YHWH'S. That's Yeshua's biological brother. He was the leader of the Nazarene movement. When you get to Acts, the 15th chapter, and Paul finally comes back to Jerusalem, that's the man he got to come holler and check in with. And that's the man that told Paul to abstain from meats offered to idols, which is to stay away from flesh, period. All right? And we can prove that. For anybody to think we lying, we can prove that with the Torah. Meats offered to idols, it has to do with every piece of flesh all y'all chewing on today. Because if it wasn't slaughtered how the Torah say it's supposed to be slaughtered and prepared and processed, then it's considered offered to devils or idols. Easy work. All right, connected at some time with the Nazarites, a sect of ancient origin. It will be remembered that James had just followed the Nazaritic practices, whose emphasis was the Messiah of David, Jesse's son. That's Isaiah 11, verse 1. If so, what we have is another Essenic sect, and one that existed before the time of Yeshua. Facts. Facts. Again, in a more recent publication, 1987, from Sri Lanka, a Finnish historian, Dr. Johan Forsström, the king of the Jews, writes, Jesus belonged to a political party called the Nazarenes. Uh-oh. Not the politics. Look at that. Now look at this. Not the politics. It says right here. Jesus belonged to a political party called the Nazarenes or Nazarites, and according to another source, had a line. Hold on. That's that next one I had. According to another source, they're talking about the physical description of Messiah, right? According to another source, had a line in the middle of his head in the manner of the Nazarites. Another book, Dr. Hugh J. Schoenfield, The Passover Plot. Another book, write that down. The Passover Plot. He quotes Matthew Black's The Scrolls and Christian Origins. The oldest root of the Christian movements. The oldest root of the Christian movement in Galilee is to be sought in a group of dedicated Nazarites, sectarians who continued the ancient Israelite institution of the lifelong Nazarite. He goes on to say, we have every reason to hold that the family to which Yeshua belonged was nurtured in this tradition, and much of his teaching confirms this. Again, we see the spelling of Nazarite from the Hebrew root, Nazir. Even though Matthew Black adds the letter O to Nazarene, Nazo or Nostrum in Hebrew, which also signifies keepers of the way or the law, as it were in this case, he is further quoted by Schoenfield. The development of Judea was an inevitable expansion as a result of the events which took place there. There is no, hold on. Some people finna be mad, but they be all right. All right, here it is. Because we ain't ducking nothing. We ain't ducking nothing. There is no reference to the Essenes in the Gospels or the Acts, and such reference would be needless if the primitive Christians as Nazarenes came within the framework of what was commonly called Essenism, a generic term rather than the name of one particular sect. The followers of Yeshua the Nazarene of Galilee simply, look at this, y'all, simply established in Jerusalem a community of their way, having a kinship, as can be seen from the Acts, with the communal way of the wilderness, followed by the various Essene groups bearing different names and having distinctive characteristics, but have also a family resemblance to one another. What particularly distinguished the Christian Nazarenes was their claim that their master was the Davidic Messiah. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. Look at this. The The final statement echoes strongly Dr. Thering's Essene Nazarite. Nazarite Essene, Davidic Crown Prince, Paschal quoted previously. All P's in that deal. Davidic Crown Prince Paschal quoted previously. In another of his works, The Jesus Party. Schoenfield paraphrases the great first century historian Hegesippus. Hegesippus, y'all, lived in the first century. The first century is when the Messiah lived. The first century is supposed to be with the Gospels and the letters of Paul is supposed to be detailing the first century, right? Now look at this. In another of his works, now Hegesippus is a church historian. But guess what, y'all? He's called Hegesippus the Nazarene. Right? He was never in league with Constantine and them. Y'all, that's 300 years later. In another of his works, The Jesus Party, Schoenfield paraphrases the great first century historian Hegesippus. Jacob, or James the Just, as reported by Hegesippus, was a lifelong what? Nazarite. Like John the Baptist, who was his cousin, who followed the ascetic Essene way of life. Consequently, he could be another link between the Galilean apostles and the groups of the saints at Jerusalem. With all the evidence available, could be is a considerable understatement. Right? We ain't talking about no could be's. There's too much evidence there. Two items that become unavoidably apparent to a student who pays close attention to research concerning the Essenes and their Ebionite Nazarene offshoots, including the adepts, high priests of the Nazarites, and their prophets, are the strict asceticism and purity laws adhered to by these and other. Hold on. All right. Still in the Gospel of the Nazarenes, explanatory preface or preface, and other related groups. These purity laws and the philosophical overview surrounding them are among the foundational elements being presented in this text. These purity laws and the philosophical overviews surrounding them are among the foundational elements being presented in this text. Concerning other areas of the law, in this case, covenantal law, there is another matter, the full purport of which further corroborates Nazarene thoughts, that all but begs explanation for those who concern themselves with the placement of Yahshua as an authentic Hebrew prophet, whose teachings do not contradict those of the Torah. There is an interesting passage in the Gospel of the Nazarenes that reveals the scope with which he approached his often controversially perceived ministry. Gospel of the Nazarenes 91 verse 5. And one asked him, saying, Master, shall infants be received into the congregation in like manner as Moses commanded by circumcision? And Yahshua answered, for those who are in the law, there is no cutting of the flesh, nor shedding of blood. Good night. He's saying if you in the highway to the higher law, ain't no cutting of the flesh or shedding of blood. Because you got to ask yourself this, are the angels circumcised? Is your spiritual body circumcised? You can be circumcised in spirit, but that has to do with faith. I'm talking about a physical cut. Yahshua replied to this loaded question in this text is bound to receive, or is bound to cause a stir from Tel Aviv to televangelist headquarters in Nashville, especially among Orthodox Jews. All right, now watch this. Hold on. That's word. We heard a word. When you heard a play, we heard a word. All right. Read that one already. No, we ain't read this. Okay, this is a prologue. Historical context. I thought we read this already. I'm gonna say, dang, what is going on? Historical context. Let's get it done. NehemiYAH, big homie, bless up. Bless up, my brother. Bless up. All praises. The Jesus party was called the Nazarene, huh? All day, all day. All right. The historical context, prologue. The term gospel has a popular definition as the good news, referring to specifically to the redemptive quality of the teachings of Yahshua. It should be noted, however, that the term existed long before the Christian era. In Greek, the word for gospel is evangelion, which means good and joyous tidings. The birthday of Emperor Augustus was referred to as the day of evangelion. He was also referred to as the savior of the world. They're talking about Emperor Augustus. Look at this. The Christian gospel vernacular undoubtedly began as a collection of teachings and sayings handed down orally. It is also very likely that these were dispersed throughout the region as a result of the Roman invasion, and that to some degree their content suffered variations until they were preserved in written form. Among the most basic information that any student of history, that any student of historical and archaeological New Testament research will become aware of is the fact that the writings found in the books of what we know as the authorized New Testament were not fashioned by the apostles themselves. Huh? Hold on. Rewind that. Among the most basic information that any student of historical and archaeological New Testament research will become aware of is the fact that the writings found in the books of what we know as the authorized New Testament were not fashioned by the apostles themselves. Wow. Beginning in 325 AD at the behest of Constantine the Great, a Roman council of bishops gathered at the Council of Nicaea to fashion such a standardized work from the writings available at the time. According to historians, many local gospels were in existence, all springing from the same oral tradition and basic principle. Hold on, I got you. Hold on. And basic principles. All right, and basic principles. By the time the council was gathered to correct, there you go. And basic principles. By the time the council was gathered to correct and homogenize them for the primarily Greco-Roman audience of the time. See? Look at this. They corrected and homogenizing it for the Greco-Roman audience. Not the Israelites. Though their efforts were successful in producing a somewhat cohesive. I mean, there are things that line up. Though doctrinally inaccurate work. Many debates have arisen. Correct. Many debates have arisen concerning the variations found in the four authorized gospels. It is no wonder that the theologians have been unable to satisfactorily explain the source of such variations, using only the authorized information. If however one searches history beyond popular acceptance and tradition, much heretofore hidden information resurfaces. The following quotes may serve to enlighten the reader's understanding concerning these variations and paradoxes and provide insights into their background and origins. Through this information, the astute reader may also begin to glimpse a historical alternative to the commonly accepted dogma taught today as the gospel. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. Hey, Shalom, Caleb. I'm reading from the Gospel of the Nazarenes, the prologue, the historical context. Blessing to you, family. Bless up. All right. The main sources from which these quotes arise are available to all who would search through the countless volumes of reference material on the text referred to by past and present historians as the original Aramaic Matthew. Another name for the Gospel of the Nazarenes is the Aramaic Matthew. There is no doubt that further information will be forthcoming when access to more material becomes available. This particular gospel has been mentioned and quoted from numerous times by many of the early church historians. These references have contributed greatly to our understanding of Nazarene traditions in first century Palestine. This Aramaic Matthew has been called by a number of varying titles: Gospel of the Hebrews, Gospel of the Nazarenes, Gospel of the Ebionites, and most recently, though less frequently, Gospel of the Holy 12. The enlightening yet sobering evidence that follows establishes the fact that a great proportion of the text of this Gospel of the Nazarenes is identical with a scroll purportedly preserved. Purportedly preserved preserved and hidden from corruptors by the Mount Carmel branch of the Essenes, Carmelites, in Tibet somewhere in the mid to late 1st century. Look at this. They're saying that the origin of the Gospel of the Nazarenes goes back to the 1st century, mid to late. And it was hidden, by the Mount Carmel branch of the Essenes in Tibet around mid to late 1st century. So if we going over what's older, I ain't going off what you accept. We going off what can be proven and validated historically speaking, archaeologically speaking. That's what we doing right here. All right. If the testimony of the Nazarene sect is on the mouth of all the ancient church fathers, not only our name, the name of our records, not only the name of our records, but what's in them, and trip off this, y'all, and our dietary code and how we rock. If that's on the mouth of all the church fathers, and the earliest church father we got was a direct disciple of one of the Messiah's disciples, meaning he never met Messiah, but he knew one of his close disciples. You're talking about Hegesippus, the Nazarene. You dig? If we can go back and look at that, and this sect is on their mouths, I'm talking about in every way that we move, then look, you can't argue with history on that. Just because you ain't know about it, just because it challenges how you believe and perceive the Most High, or it challenges how you perceive and believe the text. We bringing history out. You should want to know this. Now, trip off this. It says, I'm reading again. It says, hidden from corruptors by the Mount Carmel branch of the Essenes in Tibet somewhere in the mid to late 1st century CE, and establishes that this text, this Gospel of the Nazarenes, this Nazarene literature, is considerably older than the New Testament. Huh? You mean to tell me that this right here is considerably older than the agreed upon New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John? This includes not only the finished New Testament, but also any of the canonically accepted books within, and with the possible rare exception of the Gnostic Gospel of Thomas, discovered in the Nag Hammadi materials found in Egypt. This includes any archaeological fragments thereof as well. This gospel was rediscovered several times centuries later, most recently in the mid to late 19th century. Wow. So this right here is considerably older than the canonized New Testament. Oh, wait. I'm going to end it right here and come back on and do a part 2 to this. Because this deal, I got a whole bunch of slides for this. I want y'all to go ahead and replay this back. Look all these names up. Do your research. All right? Question everything. All right? As mentioned earlier, this gospel has been referred to under a number of different titles, in all likelihood because of regional or secular associations. This account of Yahshua's life and others of striking similarity are attested to having been in existence during the lifetimes of the following church father historians. Look at this. Look at this. All praises to the Most High, y'all. All praises to the Most High. I'm your brother. I love to do this. I love to chop it up. All right. Now look at this. I'm going to read it again. This account of Yahshua's life and others of striking similarity, or attested. Y'all meaning the church fathers testify about what we talking about. This ain't nothing that was made up 30 years ago. If we go back 1,800 years and 1,900 years and see the church fathers talking about not just the gospel of the Nazarenes and the Nazarene Acts, but what's written in them. The very book some of y'all got on y'all table right now. What else we arguing about? Ain't nothing to argue about at that point. The Nazarene literature must be considered and brought to the forefront in dealing with the nation of Israel and how we supposed to be, you know what I mean, worshiping and following and serving the Creator. Absolutely. Because it challenges mainstream Christianity and mainstream Hebrew Israelitisms. Absolutely. It's going to challenge you. It's very, very revolutionary and radical. You understand? Very. And y'all trip off this. We reading about the Essenes in here, right? In the old YHWH's, it talk about the Essenes. And how out of all of the Israelites, the Essenes was the ones that held the light of the Creator. I say, there it is. Talk about how we ate the fruits and the veggies and all that. Lived out in the wilderness, spiritual communion with the angels, all that. That's even in the old YHWH's. The old YHWH's is what SHALOM was bringing out last night. Straight up. Talk about Yahshua was a teacher from the Essene community and all that. And he wasn't no joking. They're serious. But that's another topic. I'm going to bring that out in future shows. You understand? We're going to go into, since me and talking about the Nazarene literature and the YHWH and all that, then we're going to just start going into it. Show me what's wicked about it. Instead of putting pictures up, show me what's wicked about it. But you know what y'all gonna find out? Most of these men ain't ready to swim with the sharks. They guppies. They swimming over there in the shallow. They sitting on the ledge of the pool with their feet in the water. They ain't swimming in the deep though. All right, now watch this. This account of Yahshua's life and others of striking similarity or attested to have been in existence during the lifetimes of the following church father historians: Papias, 1st century; Hegesippus, 1st century; Irenaeus, Clement, Origen, Basil, Epiphanius, Clement, 1st century as well; Origen, Basil, Epiphanius, Eusebius, and St. Jerome, to mention but a few. In latter years, it is said that St. Francis of Assisi kept it by his bedside and read passages before and after his morning meditations and just before retiring at night. Judging from the reports of St. Francis, look, and true about this, some of the mumble mouth men pull up pictures of St. Francis and say he the one that wrote it. But as we navigate through the preface and the historical content and the, every different part of this, we see that St. Francis of Assisi did not write the gospel of the Nazarenes. We see that. Now watch this. Judging from the reports of St. Francis' everyday life, this would not be hard to believe. Anyone who reads both this gospel and any account of the life of St. Francis will no doubt comprehend the full purport of this statement. So y'all, if not anything else, we are on the mouth. If not anything else, the Nazarene or the Essene sect is very, very historical. If not nothing else, this ain't something that just was made up on the fly. You dig? And I'm saying that what you read in the Nazarene Essene literature, a lot of it agree with the old YHWH the brothers and them was bringing out. Right? Y'all already know we already been on identifying the false pens of the scribes. We already been exposing the false gods. We already been showing the conflicts and the contradictions. We already been off the animal flesh and all that. We are saying the same thing. And truth be told, being that the Nazarene Essene literature go back 2,000 years, that give more weight to the WASP. Because if that from 2,000 years ago, that's older than your New Testament, is saying things in the OWASP that was written back in the 1800s, that only validates the OWASP. That's crazy. You know what I mean? So it's the information most of Israel is running from. They don't want to catch nothing head up. But we're going to keep working with brothers, man. That's what we want to do. We want to work with brothers. All right. All praises, glory now to the Most High. All right. Sis say sure about that. Kanaya is a brother Malaki. Thanks for being such a studious researcher, reader, public speaker, teacher, and student of historical and biblical documents. Love you much. Love you too. Sid, bless up. All praises. All praises. Y'all go back and watch this video right here. Watch this. All right. Take notes. We give names. We give references. We give books. If you can, put the order some of the books on Amazon. If you ain't gonna order them, at least put them in your cart. All right. We are being very transparent. We are providing y'all with everything that we looking at. You know what I mean? Yeah, Matthew Menard, I feel that. What up, Shalom? I feel that when we said, do not make marriages where love and health is not. You did? That's the truth. You know, and then the Messiah was what? Bringing us back to the Most High. Getting us away from the false gods, bringing us back to the Creator, the Most High. As we see in the Nazarene Essene literature, that's what it's all about. All right. So love y'all indeed in truth as well. All right. I want to show y'all something on the way out of here, though. All right. Show y'all something real quick. All right. Show y'all something real quick. All praises. If y'all got some understanding, give me a Yahoo up in the chat. We're going to do a part 2 to this. I'm going to see if I can get back on either tomorrow or Monday. All right. We're going to do a part 2 as well. Got to. We got to finish off this whole presentation. All right. So we got over 80 slides. All right. All right, so let me play this real quick and we're going to get up out of here. All right, absolutely. Yeah, tell the brother Kevin Muhammad reach out. Tell him reach out, man. Tell him we'll love to get on and just chop it on up. Chop it on up. You know, if he want, he can be part of SWORD session number 2. We can decide what topic we want to get on. Let's get it. Tell him he'll be more than respected over here on this platform. We ain't playing no disrespect. All right. All right. Yahoo actually just so switch the word. Let me share this real quick. Y'all check this out. Hold on. And we're going to get on about it, all right? Love all y'all indeed and true. Bless up. And may the blessings and the healing and the inspiration of the Most High Creator permeate every square inch of y'all mind, body, and spirit. We come against every unclean spirit of sickness with healing. Every unclean spirit of hatred with love. Every unclean spirit of war with peace. You understand? Every unclean spirit of poverty with abundance. May the Creator enrich every last one of y'all lives in ways that you never imagined. In the power and the name and the authority of the Heavenly Father, the Most High, the Creator, Yahweh. Let's get it done, Yahoo. All right? Share this on up real quick. Share screen. Wow. Wow.
A new world order. Well, the organizers here are nothing if not ambitious.
The world as we know it has changed. Altering our current path to the future requires a strong and proactive leadership. The global economy is in transition. Now is the time to come together as governments, as nations, as people. Putting nature at the heart of how we innovate will make us ready for the final frontier. Putting people at the heart of robotics will create a better tomorrow between AI and society. The World Government Summit will enable nations to come together and take accountability.
We cannot continue to destroy our environment.
We are here to shape the future.
Build a better tomorrow by taking action here and now.
Your Excellency, are you ready for a new world order?
I think, Becky, the main problem is if you think of the technology is 21st century, 22nd century technology. What is happening in AI, what is happening everywhere really that will really transform and is transforming our lives and also transforming international relations. But I think the frame of thinking is still 19th century. I think this is one of the problems that we have in the international system. Where if you look, it's still about nationalism, it's still about state sovereignty, it's still about use of force or non-use of force. And I think this is one of the major issues as we try to bridge really what is mentally, governing international relations with the 19th century mode of thinking, but at the same time with technology fast ahead of us in the curve. That I think will be a major problem.
My mentor on issues of world order is Henry Kissinger, so I'll try to channel him, and forgive me, Dr. Kissinger. But his answer would be, what do you mean no new world order? We have not had a world order yet. What we've had is we've had a Western order that was imposed on the world. And I think where we are now, and this gets to your question, Becky, of a new world order, is it can go in two directions with the war in Ukraine now being a decisive element. Either the jungle is back, as the historian Bob Kagan talks, and that we can go into a darker era, or we could go into an era because of the advances of science, advances of technology, that could be one of the most prosperous, promising, progressive, enlightened, moderate, modern eras that we've ever faced.
Let's just start with you. If we are looking at a new world order that is, as Pippa describes it, decentralized, if we are looking at a new world that is not a single power based, as it were, and a world that is layered by these, what feel like very new global issues of climate change, of cybersecurity, as you suggest, of technology and the speed of that. What does that mean for this region? Because the perspective that we discuss world order through, as Fred has rightly pointed out, has been a Western perspective. My sense is that we must stop doing that. So what is the impact on this region?
I think to start with, Becky, the region has to catch up.
Hi, I'm Nicole Hockley from Sandy Hook Promise. I know this is hard to hear, but it's important. The shooter.
I mean, the region is really behind various other regions in the world. And I think it's by prioritizing its own politics and prioritizing its own polarizing wars and confrontations. The region really, I think, number one, as the world is becoming multipolar, and I believe it is, and I agree also with the idea that this multipolarity is moving from economic to, from political to economic to what I would call even currency multipolarity as we move forward.
What underpins a world order is always the financial system. I was very privileged. My father was an advisor to Nixon when they came off the gold standard in '71. And so I was brought up with a kind of inside view of how very important the financial structure is to absolutely everything else. And what we're seeing in the world today, I think, is we're on the brink of a dramatic change where we are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one. And the new one, the new accounting, is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means having a almost perfect record of every single transaction that happens in the economy, which will give us far greater clarity over what's going on. It also raises huge dangers in terms of the balance of power between states and citizens. In my opinion, we're going to need a digital constitution of human rights if we're going to have digital money. But also, this new money will be sovereign in nature. Most people think that digital money is crypto and private, but what I see are superpowers introducing digital currency. The Chinese were the first. The US is on the brink, I think, of moving in the same direction. The Europeans have committed to that as well. And the question is, will that new system of digital money and digital accounting accommodate the competing needs of the citizens of all these locations so that every human being has a chance to have a better life? Supply chain of food. And I think we cannot leave this event without speaking about the need to prepare now to prevent a catastrophe, because the loss of the fertilizers from both Russia and Belarus, the enormous increase in the oil price, which directly hits farmers around the world, already has caused a jump in the wheat price, which is the single most important foodstuff for this region. And last time we saw this, that was a major contributing factor to the Arab Spring. So now is the time to think through, how will we solve this? And that will be part of the answer of what will the new order work like.
And then tell us and tell the audience, should compliance measures such as AML, CTF, and KYC be utilized in this new world of stable coins and central bank digital currencies?
Thanks, Gabe. So I'm Jonathan. I'm one of the co-founders of a company called Chainalysis. We provide investigation and anti-money laundering software for cryptocurrencies across the world, including here in Dubai. And so what we have seen over the years in crypto is that you can actually have this type of unprecedented transparency that was being spoken about, that actually you're able to monitor for the types of AML and CFT risks in a open and permissionless environment. And whether that is in Bitcoin or Ethereum, or whether those are stable coins that are based on those blockchains, we are able to follow the money in those scenarios and actually detect different structuring and really all of the different ways in which people can abuse cryptocurrencies, including stable coins.
The nature of money is going to change quite dramatically. The old systems of trust and of ownership will have to adapt radically. Maybe the financial system will become so complicated as AI takes over more and more of the action that it will be just too complicated for the human mind. So how does a system functions when no human really understands it? Maybe the ultimate destiny of Homo sapiens is just be consumers. You don't need humans for anything except as consumers. There are many occasions in history when people didn't value very much other people as consumers. If you think about slave economies, so you didn't think, oh, we should liberate all the slaves and improve their conditions so that they will buy our products. And in the future, slavery is unlikely to return. If you need less humans, you definitely don't need slaves. But you could, for example, encounter a situation in which machines are also the consumers. You need consumers, but even in consumption, somebody is doing a better job than humans. You could have an entire economy flourishing without humans in the loop. You can have one corporation that mines ore and produces steel and sells it to a second corporation.
Unless you have $5 million to invest, you'll never see this strategy. Hi.
That produces robots, and they are sold back to the mining corporation that mines more steel, more iron, produces steel, sell it to the robotics corporation. And these two corporations can form an entire economic ecosystem which can spread from planet Earth to other planets and throughout the galaxy, just colonizing new planets and asteroids to mine things, and you just don't need humans in the loop. it's not a law of nature that you always need humans even as consumers, or all the humans as consumers. There could be potentially other consumers out there. Now the question arises, but what's the point? What's the point of having this closed circle economy that benefits nobody outside? But you can ask the same thing about the human economy. You could have sophisticated economies in the future in which humans, or at least many humans, are not needed even as consumers. Now, I think specifically about Europe, is how few people are willing to kill or be killed for nationalism, which is a wonderful development, don't get me wrong. A century or two ago, to decide a question like whether Britain should be part of a European Union or an allegedly independent country, you would need a big war with millions of people being killed and injured and so forth. As far as I know, in Brexit, only one person lost her life, a British MP who was murdered by some fanatic. And the rest of the people just followed whatever the referendum said. And it's the same with the Scottish referendum. In past century, if Scotland wanted to be independent of London, and they wanted to be independent a couple of times, they needed to raise an army and to confront the armies that London would send from the south to burn Edinburgh down. Now they just go to a referendum and almost everybody just accept the results. Very few people are willing to actually be killed or to kill. The three biggest problems we face are nuclear war, climate change, and technological disruption. And none of these problems can be solved on the level of a single nation. You just can't solve climate change or regulate AI on the level of a single nation. So the only solution to these global problems is greater global cooperation. Whether we actually see greater global cooperation, I don't know. It's the wise thing to do, but we should never underestimate human stupidity. The most important fact about living in the 21st century is that we are becoming hackable animals. And you have these two components. The animals come from biology and from biotech, and the hacking comes from infotech and from computers. But for almost any change that people talk about today, you need to take biology into account. Even something like a self-driving car. For a self-driving car on the road, it's important to first be able to tell the difference between a child and an adult, to gauge the age of that human being, and to know something about what's the difference in behavior between an 8-year-old, an 18-year-old, and an 80-year-old person. And that's critical, even for something like self-driving car. When you reach the point when you say, okay, I want an AI doctor, I want an AI teacher to replace or augment human doctors and human teachers, there it's obvious that without biotech, you are not going to get very far.
Do you think there could be such a thing as an AI doctor?
Certainly. I think it will be, it's coming quite soon. It will have immense benefits for humans. You go around 24 hours a day with biometric sensors on or inside your body, and they constantly send information.
So you're monitored you are monitored.
You're monitored all the time. The information goes to an AI doctor, maybe on your smartphone or whatever, which analyzes all this stream of information and monitors your health in a way which no human doctor can even approach. As far as biology tells us today, anger and fear and depression, they are also biochemical processes, biochemical patterns, just like flu or cancer. If the AI can diagnose flu, it can also diagnose anger. And the fact that it doesn't have any emotions of its own actually makes it in many situations much better, because it has no distractions. People will become so used to computers that are so empathic, that really understand me so deeply, that really care about my tiniest nuance of emotion, that humans will not be able to compete. We will become intolerable to all these humans who don't understand us the way that the computers understand us.
Mic check, mic check, mic check. All praises, y'all. I know it was a little quick today, good 2.5 hours. But I got it in my mind to slow roll back over the historical context. That's what time it is. We've been on a continual blitzkrieg for the past year. One thing can't nobody call us is non-consistent or inconsistent, should I say. We've been very consistent over the past year, constant applying pressure diligently. You dig? So even though we went over all this last year, now it's time to go back over it, but slow it down even more. You know? So all praise to the Most High. You dig? And made the testimony of Messiah live in the heart, mind, body, and spirits of all you brothers and sisters. Messianic to the bone, Gristle. Baby, y'all already know what time it is. You know, and trip off this, y'all. Whenever we live in a time to where indoctrination overrides common sense, we in bad shape. All right, common sense is the voice of the Most High. Never abandon that. Never abandon that. No matter what you read or whatever. If it goes against the common sense or the voice of the Most High that He gave you, you understand? Then that is not to be abandoned. The voice of the Most High is not to be abandoned for something you read. I don't care what it is. You understand? Because you wasn't born with a book. You was born with the voice of the Almighty, and that's just the truth. All right? You feel when something is off. You feel when danger's in the earth. Yeah, we spiritual beings. We vibrate at a certain frequency and all that. So you can feel when it's off. If something ain't matching your frequency, something off. You dig? So look, I love all y'all deed and truth. Remember that. All right? And believe that. And look, what honor and humility is about is what we always been about. Getting better. Getting better. There's nothing wrong with challenging. Challenge that. Challenge them beliefs you talking about. That's the thing. Most of us got comfortable in our Hebrew belief. You got to challenge it. Challenge it. Go back over the history. Go back over the precepts and the breakdowns. You know what I mean? Are you allowed to ask yourself this? Am I allowed to deal with critical thinking, free thinking, and common sense in what I believe? Like in whatever you believe, if critical thinking is shunned and outlawed, you're in the wrong spot. You should be able to critically think and ask questions and apply pressure whenever. Whenever. Feel me? Spiritual cultivation. That's it. So it's all good, man. Much love. You dig? There ain't no private agendas. We ain't trying to, get you to be our students. And you understand? We ain't looking for, the flunkies and none of that. We brothers and sisters on that path, growing together. And that's what that's all about. I'm your brother. I go to war with you. You go to war with you. Hey, bro, man, we tripping. You know what I mean? Come on through. That's clear. Yeah, I got you. But I'm never nobody's fearless leader. You dig? I'm never nobody's fearless commanding general of 100 million, whatever. I don't even care about all that. Our thing is spiritual progression, upward and outward, constantly growing. All right. So whatever it is, you constantly gonna be growing and shedding. You dig? You're gonna be shedding certain things. There's certain things that's not required anymore because you've grown. You dig? So when it's time for skin to shed because you've grown, that don't mean the things that you went through weren't necessary. They're just not required anymore. You've grown. That's it. You just grown. There's certain things that I don't need for you to tell me I ain't supposed to steal nothing. I know that. You dig? Look, there's certain Hebrews that won't even talk to you unless you got your zeets on. You must be new, brother. You ain't got your fringes hanging up, man. Look, stop it. This thing is way deeper than that. I love all y'all deep in truth. Believe that. Know that. Thank y'all for the prayers. Thank y'all for the support. You understand? We got a lot of big things coming. I'm gonna tell y'all like this. My brothers over here, Selah Shalom, Cosmon Cal, all my Nazarene and Essene brothers and sisters as well. I'm gonna tell y'all like this. If you have a strong conviction about what it is you believe, and you feel that everybody's going wrong and doing so wrong, you even disagree about what we bringing out or whatever, always remember this. Your thumbs ain't broke. You feeling froggy, jump. Hit that live button and let's get it done. You know what I mean? And even though we go involved, we gonna let the book speak. All right. All praise and glory now to the Most High. Love all y'all indeed in truth. Strap up, back up, y'all.